Nation, what's good? Honora boys in the building. Yo, left man. You know I'll be out there on the 21st on the left coast,
That's right.
out there for the holiday. But
Wait,
yo,
you say you saying Thanksgiving holiday?
yeah, I'll be out there for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I get out there on the 21st. The next day I celebrate baby girl's 21st birthday. And then 2 days, I believe 2 days later, Thanksgiving is the 24th this year. It's either the 24th or 23rd. I forget. But we're gonna drive down on the 23rd to check Bronny out.
Mm.
USC is playing in a tournament down in San Diego. So we're gonna get
Is
up
he
that morning.
playing though, or is he just on the team?
I don't he probably won't play until like Pac-12 because the procedure he had, they said was successful. He didn't partake in the scrimmage on last Thursday.
Right. I'm like, I don't know how active he actually even is.
But I still want to watch the USC squad. My boy Boogie Ellis is still on the squad. That's my dude. The other freshman that's supposed to be good, the other guard. So I'm looking forward to it, man. And Notre Dame, by that time, should have run the table. So it's a lot of information that came out today. We're going to get right to Marcus Freeman in a couple of minutes. But as always, CFB Nation presented by Twisted Tea.
That's right.
Hey, don't forget Apple Podcast, Spotify. Man, you can find audio edibles each and every day, courtesy of CFB Nation. And then Honora Boys, man, we're brought to you by Honora Whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey, HonoraWhiskey.com. And if you drink, by all means, make sure you do so responsibly. I have a couple of questions before we get to Marcus Freeman's press conference today.
That's right.
So, you know me, I am a podcast nerd. Like I watch, I told you, I rarely watch TV. I'll get up in the morning and just watch nothing but podcasts. I was right before we came on, I was watching an episode of My Expert Opinion with Mav Hoffa and Eric Sermon talking about how they were out in Oakland and Paris Smith hit MC Hammer in the face and they almost got into a fight. And so, man, these stories always amaze me, but I don't know if you saw the latest episode of Drink Champs left. The latest episode of Drink Champs was Manny Fresh and Juvie. Now, Manny Fresh, Juvie, the Hot Boys, they really hit you were like in what, 7th, 8th grade, 6th, 7th, 8th grade when they hit?
Yep, just outside of high school.
Just outside of high school. So that was like your prime. That was like when you were really starting to get into the culture and like, because when you're in 6th, 7th grade, you're like on the fringe of pretty much telling the world what's popping.
Right.
Like the 11, 12, and 13-year-olds, they really decide what's popping in the future. So it was funny because I was listening to a story about they were about to turn in Juvie's first album. And Manny Fresh changed the beat to Ha the night before they turned it in. So it forced Juvie to change his verse. So we were literally one day from like getting a totally different version of Ha. And that's a classic. But that's not the question I want to ask you. They told a story about his other joint, Back That A Up. Okay. Is that not, especially in our culture, is that not the female national anthem, bro? Is there another song that gets females up? It doesn't matter demographic, education. It doesn't matter. That song comes on, they all get up and dance. I'm really trying to figure out, is there another joint
Yeah, I think that's definitely a classic anthem. You could say for generations up into the 2000, probably 15, 16. Now it's transitioned to all this type of music related content that's oversaturation of the anthem market for females,
Mm,
you know,
mm,
which I think, goes back to why I don't like any female rappers, but it's just because I don't think it's the sport that I enjoy seeing women play. That's like an all women's professional football league,
yeah,
and they were taking it as serious as the NFL. I just don't think I would be as interested, in watching the ticker of the Peyton Manning of the women's football league get traded.
yeah,
It just wouldn't be
yeah,
interesting to me. That's
yeah,
how I feel. That's how I view female rappers. So
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then my second question, I actually texted you earlier today. I had an interesting question with some of my guys. Some of my best friend from college is in town, and we were just talking, catching up. And he's in uh, the financial markets. He actually works for Fannie Mae now. He's a longtime employee of John Nuveen and investments and everything. So we're talking, and he was talking about Casamigos, and he was like, "Yo," he was talking about their market shares and how the production has exploded because they started out small, and their projections really were underwhelming because they didn't really project to, I guess, do so well or do as well as they are in America. And he said because of the production, they've had the up production, the quality of the tequila has dropped. And I hit you and I said, yo, does that make sense? Is that something that can happen? Like, yo, you kind of figure you're going to be in this area as far as a brand. This is going to be your marketplace, your market share. And then all of a sudden things explode and you have to produce so much more that, you kind of lose the nuance of what made you great. Do you think that's something that happens a lot and you're part of the business? And then is that something that you guys project for Honora?
well,
Like, are you comfortable being like not one of the big major brands and still, happy with what's popping?
yeah, I mean, you're happy with what you're doing. I think these are all recipes at the end of the day, and it's the same as Casamigos blew up. The same as how Ciroc blew up because Diddy was in the face of it. But
Hmm.
when Diddy started not being in the face of it, Ciroc didn't change their recipe. It's still Ciroc. It's still what it was from the beginning. So marketing made it taste better to certain people. But Casamigos are always a pretty whatever type of tequila anyway, where most tequilas and vodkas are pretty much made from the same place and made the same. It's just companies market the same different ways. So it's always been the bottom tier of the alcohol scale. I would put it, but from the perspective of Nora, I think we're expanding and trying different spirits, going into different markets, creating the beer, getting bigger in that aspect instead of just being just whiskey. So I think there's a more creative and brighter side to that, as opposed to just making only Casamigos and people. The marketing effect is wearing off on people. They just saying this is just some regular tequila.
Hey man, like you said, I'm a newbie, bro. Right? I'm a newbie. I am literally the most casual of casual drinkers that you will ever see.
That's right.
I've, I've never tasted beer ever. My go-to drink is a mojito.
Mm.
Always, always.
Always.
Always. My best friend got me hooked on mojito like 20 years ago, bro, and I've never left a mojito.
Mm.
We were actually in Miami. He was like, "You got to try this," and every now and then I'll tell the bartender when I do get a drink, um, put some juice in it, chase it with some pineapple, or chase it. The dopest one I've ever had was at Bed NYC. I don't know if you ever been to Bed NYC. I don't even know if they're open. Have you ever, it was a club called Bed in New York and Miami where they actually had beds. The concept was so dope. Like you would take a girl on a date and you guys would sit on beds and you would be served drinks and food
Mm.
on beds. And it was a big hit in New York and Miami for a long time. This was like early 2000s. This was like right before my daughter was born in '02. And the concept was huge. I don't know if it still exists, but it was like crazy, man. These clubs just kind of just took off. And I had a Concord grape mojito at this spot. Best drink I've ever had. Best.
Mojito on a bed, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. The place, and the first of all, what the beds were was like it was like VIP. You had to pay for that section. They had a regular bar and then like a regular restaurant, but the VIP section is like you had to pay hourly for the whole bed setup. And then, of course, the bottle service was a little bit different, but the concept was amazing. I don't know if it still exists, but I'm sure if you Google it, man, there's definitely stories on Bed NYC and I think Bed Miami. Those are the two places I know where they had it. So just a little background, a little whiskey talk to get it started. Make sure
That's
you go
right.
to ONORAwhiskey.com for that premium American whiskey. So, here's somebody. Gino says, "Yo, the bed clubs in DC. I didn't know it was one in DC.
It's a
See?
club too.
Yeah. DJ, everything. The concept was, man, the concept was bananas. Oh, they closed the one in NYC. Okay. But yeah, this was like early 2000s, bro. It was, I remember I walked up in the joint in Miami and I couldn't believe my eyes.
Mm.
You see a nice couple on a date chilling on an actual bed. And it's like, yo, this is crazy.
No, it's crazy.
It's crazy. So Notre Dame starts this run as heavy favorites. Left, I don't know how to approach this. The over-under is 45, and Notre Dame is a 20-point favorite. How does that work? Because I expect Notre Dame to be refreshed, but I don't know if they'll be really hitting on all cylinders. You know what I'm saying?
I think we're in a good position, man. For us to have such high expectations is good because we should have those of ourselves against a team like this. Coming off of fresh legs, Edric Austin coming off of fresh legs from bye week with Aldrich Estime, I do believe that that's only a bad thing for Pitt, and it's a really good thing for us because you get better, in my opinion, resting a run game as opposed to resting a pass game. So I know that old man Sam definitely took a week off at a bye week as a week off in a bye week. I doubt he was out there throwing every day with receivers during the bye week just because, you do need some time off. But Sam has probably a routine in those bye weeks of how to stay fresh yet not work as much because you still have a whole half a season. So I do believe that the offensive line taking a rest for a week, just not a physical beating as much, as well as Aldridge getting fresh for another second stretch of the season. I do believe that it's going to put the point total where it should be at a constant. And then for us, getting back on track, it'll come down to Sam and receivers, getting that connection back towards the second half of the game, or the second, or the points after we score 35. So I think 35 is going to be the refreshed run game that's going to have an impact against Pitt,
Mhm.
and then the rest of the points are determined based on how the rest of the skill players are coming into chemistry after a bye week like that.
Yeah, so it's almost like I want to say take the points, but take the under. Pittsburgh struggled.
Don't say the under though.
No, 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 no. See, Pittsburgh, a lot of turnovers. They were able. They didn't put up a lot of points against Louisville offensively. They started their new quarterback. That was his first start. He gets the win against Louisville, but the offense really wasn't that good. They really don't have a lot of explosive players. They have some wide receivers that are nice. I told you I love the defensive backs, and
Yeah,
we'll get to them later in the week. But then they go to Wake Forest, and they're in the teens. So I'm like, Wake Forest, Notre Dame. I'm like, okay, Notre Dame might keep them out of the teens,
yeah,
which means even if Notre Dame puts up 30, if Notre Dame scores 35 and they're at 7, that's the under.
yeah. True.
But Notre Dame covers the 20. So, man, I really expect Notre Dame to cover.
Yeah, I mean, I think Notre Dame would do a good job of getting the points that they need.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Pitching a close game like that to 7 points means our defense is just unbelievable this year. And no matter if we take a week off or we have an elite quarterback, our defense has been pretty constant. So shout
Mm-hmm.
out to Al Golden for that. I mean, that's not an easy thing to motivate guys to tackle week after week on the most basic level. So for him to be able to withstand that, I do believe that there's an opportunity for us with this defense to provide more offensive opportunities these last couple of weeks going into a possible New Year's Six Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking do we have a good chance? The Louisville is a good stain. Obviously, Ohio State is helping and hurting us at the same time
Mm-hmm.
because we play close with them. But how much do they count playing close with the team uh, when it matters? Hopefully we get a good drawing for this bowl game to build off of. But it's just going back to what are we building on for? And that's why I think finding those star players this second
Mm-hmm.
rest of the season is
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing you can do, because that's how you build teams off of great players. And right now, we just have a team full of good players.
Lucky podcast. I think you hit the point. Like win games, dude. Notre Dame's expected to win every game. They're going to be heavy favorites.
Yeah,
Whether it's Pittsburgh, and now we know because Clemson didn't keep up their end of the bargain. It's no longer a primetime game. It's a 3:30
oh, they
Eastern.
even changed the time on the game.
They changed the time on the game, and it's
What?
either going to be a 3:30 or a 12:30 or 12 o'clock,
Oh,
which means dude, that place when it's not at night is not the same place. And
that'd be
Notre Dame shouldn't be intimidated playing in that place anyway. Dude, Notre Dame should be a heavy favorite the rest of the schedule. Period. Heavy favorites. And they should take care of business and be able to run the table. It's as simple as that. Style points, finding your stars for 2024 and setting 2024 up definitely should be at the top of the list. And as Marcus Freeman said today, he has a focused, healthy team. And it's funny because what amazes me, Left? Basketball teams have like what, 14 to 15 guys on scholarship.
yeah,
Uh, Football, you have the walk-ons and the scholarship players. So it's almost like 100 kids.
yeah,
A lot of the kids went home. The coaches were out recruiting. They sent them home. because they had taken midterms the week before. They were on break, sent them home. And the fact that all of the players got back on time. They had to be back Sunday at 7, and all of them got back on time. It's so funny, man. Like, what was that like for you scrambling to get back? Like when you guys had breaks like that.
Yeah, one of the craziest experiences I've had was trying to catch a train to catch a meeting the Sunday evening before we started back football for the spring
Mm-hmm.
for our first big team meeting of the year. Me and Amir was running through downtown Chicago trying to catch that one-way train back, and we had missed it.
Mm.
And it was like a movie. We're carrying a mattress and luggage, running through the city. I'm tired. He's tired. I had to convince him this was a 2-minute drill, trusting your quarterback for the first time. This is my first, I was an early enrollee, so
Mm.
I'm hanging with the older kids on the break before football even starts, trying to build a whole relationship thing. So I'm with the mirror, and we're in crunch time situations, QB slot receiver type of work. We end up missing the train, but I had a great draw in the sand last play, Hail Mary. Had a taxi service from a friend get us from Chicago, deliver us right in front of the Goob right before the meeting. So that's how I knew I was good at 2 minute and I was going to be good for my teammates in the clutch. And the rest is history.
You only get stories like that right here on Lucky Lefty Podcast. Marcus Freeman met with the media today. Let's get right to it. And he talked about his team being refreshed and coming off the break.
Much needed bye week for our players mentally and physically. They needed it. You think about we started this season the last week of June. We started training camp and have gone straight until last week, and so it was a great chance for them to have a bye week and mentally after Wednesday's practice to mentally kind of check out with fall break. But we also challenged them, had to get better. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday we had to practice, and we had to get after it and really make sure that we were improving at all areas of the game of football, but also at the areas that we've been deficient. And so I was really pleased with those 3 days of practices, and then I think they'll be ready to roll after a three-day break that they got. So turning the page, obviously, to a talented PITT team that we have coming in here on Saturday. Obviously beat Louisville and could have won that game last week. And so we have to make sure we're ready to go and ready to perform on Saturday. So
Marcus Freeman says, and I think most people would agree, like the bye was much needed. They were physically, beat up, attrition. The depth chart was being affected, production was being affected, and most people felt like, man, it would have been nice if it came right before Louisville.
Yeah.
But it feels like he has a fresh team to go ahead and finish out this schedule.
Yeah, I don't think Marcus Freeman looks at that Louisville game and thinks that, if we were to play him another 10 times, we wouldn't win 10 times. If we had that opportunity, especially if after a bye week and then we played Louisville, I think you'll see a night and day different game, especially on the scoreboard. If we had a chance to play them after a bye week, playing them when we did was just a really good opportunity for them. Tough spot for us coming off of the long haul that we did. And I thought that it still had to take us to the wire to be able to get it done. But it was an average team that was able to get it done. So I think Marcus Freeman was glad to be able to take a break from these long weekends, because they are long, having to sit in a hotel 4 or 5 weeks in a row, playing primetime night games.
It's a good
It's
point.
a little draining, not only to your team, but to you in terms of the anxiety of keeping the team together week after week, waiting a little longer than usual, and then having to restart early Monday with guys coming off of That recovery time adds up that you're missing playing these night games. But I do think that Marcus Freeman was able to get a good evaluation after taking a week mid-season to kind of take a step back,
Yeah.
drink some ONORA, and be like, man, that was a whirlwind. Now the finish, it shouldn't be as difficult, but it needs to be more, I think, focused on what needs to be uh, the building blocks for moving forward, going into the bowl game, going into next year, with a focus on, after all of this, who are the guys that make it happen and who are the guys that don't.
Marcus Freeman had a defense last year that struggled situationally, specifically in the red zone. They really turned that 180 this year. And on the offensive side of the ball, third down, especially third and short, has been an issue all year long.
It's the execution. It's the execution, and we got to be better on third down. But part of being better on third down is being more efficient on first and second down. And there's not just the one common theme in the last 3 or 4 games that we say this is the reason. Each game has its own different story that we have to continue to attack. 5 turnovers one game, right? And that's a different story than last week. And so we have to continue to build confidence in taking shots. Especially playing the defense we'll play this week, you're going to have to take some shots and some play action shots. And we're continuously looking at the things we do. But the biggest thing is the execution. So the challenge will continuously be, hey, we have to simplify so the execution is at the standard we need it to be. And it's not more. It's clear.
Yeah, at this point in the season, get a chance to kind of rally to what we do really well on offense, and knowing that you're facing competition you should be able to overcome. You should be able to define that offense in the weeks coming out of a break, because you either adjust after a break or you get lazy and you take a step back after a break. And I think for Jared Parker in this season specifically, go back to what makes Sam's really successful, find different formations to run the same play, and put those players that are the X factors in those specific spots where he's looking to throw the football, to make it easier for us to operate late in the season when teams are starting to figure out the scheme and what we're trying to do. Because after a while, you can't fool everybody. College football is at a place they're scouting 24/7. You see how hard Michigan's working to cheat their way to the top. So for us, it's about, like Marcus Freeman said, executing on things that we're really good at. We don't have to try to think of nothing new this late in the season, because it's coming to crunch time where, one, we don't need it. Because if we don't got enough plays we ran already to beat a PITT team, then we're just not a good team, or we don't have good coaches, which I don't think are either one. So Jared Parker, at this point, start figuring out who you are as offensive coordinator by calling your favorite stuff and forming game plans around that. It's enough film to know what guys really like and don't like, especially your quarterback. So that needs to be at a premium, because at this point, these teams aren't even about them. They're about us, seriously, especially getting better, focused on the bigger picture of, we're not, quote unquote, technically in playoff college contention, but you want to finish off with a good bowl game for recruiting reasons, but also to help finish the year the right way, to gain momentum, to get better for next year.
And talking about that, the LL question of the day: has Notre Dame played national championship defense this year? Has Notre Dame played national championship defense this year? We look forward to seeing your answers in the chat. All right. The super chat is enabled once again. If you have a super chat, super sticker, feel free to go ahead and bless. Marcus Freeman was asked about Pitt's defense that has been pretty good and has some pretty good defensive backs. This is what he had to say.
Obviously, with the new quarterback, you really look at what they've done all season to now, what they're doing with the new quarterback. Similar. I mean, it's a similar offense, but I think the packages might be tailored towards what he does well. Been able to run the ball. Sebo, obviously we know Sebo really well, and he's been running the ball really well the past couple of weeks, and they have some threats on the outside. And so it's a team that I see that's continuously getting better. Like that's what I've seen is, especially in these past 2 weeks, this team has gotten better from what they were at the beginning of the year. And so we got to understand the challenge that will be presented on Saturday.
I said Pitt defense. I meant to say Pitt offense, but go ahead, Left.
Yeah, I've gotten better, but Marcus Freeman should put himself in a position where he can grow as a coach in this last part of the season. I think he's learned a lot from situational football that I think in these last games, with them being not cupcakes, but should wins, not a must win, they're should wins.
Yeah.
That Marcus Freeman should really dig into his coaching bag and define who he is as a coach on a head coaching level. We know what he's like in the locker room, and we know what he's like as the face of a program. But as a coach, we would like to see the more identity and more forthright aggressiveness on things that you feel really good at. I think, some of the things were forced, like going for 4th and 3 on our own, 40, 35. Like, I don't think that was a decision we really wanted to do. But I think finding the authenticity of how you bring it all together in these last games will show really good for how we can finish the year strong going into a bowl game, which I think is more of a must win for him in the confidence sense that he's on the right track still, even though losing those games that I think a lot of people really wanted him to win. I think it was more people that wanted him to win than wanting Notre Dame to lose in those situations.
And this, Left. One of the most difficult things I've heard this from high school coaches in Chicago, whether it's basketball or football, talk to professional coaches. I've always heard that the most difficult thing to do as a head coach is be patient within a game, right? Because you always want to feel like either you want to get your team caught up, or you want to get your team out in front, and you want to try and do it. Every coach loves for it to happen on one play, right? You know what I'm saying? With kick return, whatever. And Marcus Freeman panicked a little bit against Louisville. 9 minutes left. Punt, get a stop, score.
Then you got a top 10 defense. I don't think you should ever go for it on that close.
And then you put your defense that had been out there all night and was already on fumes. You give them another challenge, and it's like, you put them in a bad position. So I saw coaches do that all weekend in college football.
Oh, yeah.
North Carolina's down there for a field goal with 4 minutes left. On 4th and 14, they go for it on 4th and 14 instead of taking the 3 and trying to get a stop. It's like, you have to be patient. Now, I understand they probably didn't believe in their defense because they hadn't stopped Virginia all second half. But at some point, you have to say, we're North Carolina and they're Virginia. Like, get a stop. We've seen college coaches panic and make this mistake consistently.
Unnecessarily, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, you want to stay on the offensive a lot of the times, but it's still a strategic type of game you have to play for moves that are made 2 or 3 steps down the line because of how it will affect you in a time limit, provided you don't have good defense and you have to score late in the game. You want to always play with giving yourself time at the end of the game, situationally, thinking that your defense is going to keep it to within scoring range. And a lot of times defenses are going to give it up late game. So it's better to be in the offense last possession in college football more times than not. And I think Marcus Freeman could have waited on that 4th down because we had a 6th ranked defense in the country. There's no reason to think that you have to press the gas on offense with a defense rated that high. So situationally, You want to play your defense as much as offensively you can, but thinking with them in mind. You thinking offense in mind, hoping defense will save you. No, use the offense to save your defense. Let them be the lead front, and especially in a game where we're not scoring how we should, or we're trying to figure it out. Play offense defensively by using your offense to put your defense in better positions, especially in an away game. You're trying to gain momentum. They clearly can't do anything, but if you give them short field, anybody can get lucky. And I think by panicking in that situation, you gave them too much room to get creative with. And you're playing against a good offensive coordinator who all he needs is just a little bit of space. And psychologically, you gave it to him because I don't think anybody in the stadium was thinking that we were going to do that, number one. And then number two, we were like, oh, yeah, you going to try us like that? Oh, yeah, well, yeah, okay, we got something. you going to do – I know y'all know the name, but you going to try us like that? Oh, okay. So you're going to get what you deserve, and I thought we did. But as long as he can identify situationally, get better in these last couple games that are manageable, you don't have to put too much brain power in terms of the type of stakes the Ohio State game was, and even the Louisville game.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing and finish strong.
Of course, one of the positions really hit hard during those 4 straight games in prime time was the wide receiver room. And Marcus Freeman says this is about as close to 100% as the guys that were injured, Jaden Greathouse and Jaden Thomas, will be. And it's very interesting that them being 100, but it's going to be the production. And also, Rico Flores was elevated to starter over Tobias on the depth chart. So that's something interesting we'll get to. But this is what Marcus Freeman had to say about the health of the wide receiver room left.
Is close to 100% this week than they've been all year. And, JT was probably a step below where he was 2 weeks ago. So Louisville, he was probably at a higher level in terms of how we felt than he was versus USC, which dictated a little bit of what we did with him. And Greathouse has continuously gotten better and better with his hamstring. So I think both of those guys will be as close to full go as you'll see all year. And that's a week-to-week basis, right? And we have to do things to try to prevent, obviously, soft tissue injuries from happening. And we'll continuously try to do that. But, you never know in the game of football.
I don't know how confident I am that these guys are going to come out and be productive, man. It's almost like this is as close as they've been. I'm not saying they're 100%, but this is as close as they've been to 100%. It's going to be week to week. Hamstrings.
Well, they don't take me as a unit that's going to get better as time goes on, especially during the season where you're not producing at 100%. I doubt you're going to be producing more at 75%. I don't think we have the mental or physical toughness to get better, more injured yet, especially at our one quote unquote one receiver position. So it is a little concerning for a guy like Rico Flores to take over his position of JT because of what we thought about JT coming in. And the expectation for Rico wasn't even, I'm sorry, not JT, Tobias. The expectations for the two receivers were drastically different coming into the season. And it's not, I don't know if it's more Rico has stepped into something as opposed to just him being the only one that looks like they want to do something.
Just opportunity, making plays, making plays against Ohio State, making plays against Duke.
But even Rico isn't the.
And like you said, they came into Louisville like he was the featured wide receiver, bro.
Like he was on the poster for the game. Like we were the feature of the team. And that's the concerning part because it's different how we look at Jeremiah Love. We're like, oh yeah, that talent is that's a game breaking talent. We don't view Rico as a game breaking talent as how we've thrusted him into that one position at receiver. It's not like he was just working his way up and was the hidden Zachariah Branch from USC on the team. No, he was just a good receiver coming in. He's looking to do his development and make an impact. So the coming out of nowhere in the middle of the season aspect just shows a lot about the talent depth of the older guys. But also we have a long way to go to having a room full of dudes. Right now we got a room full of serviceable men, but no special forces, no special ops. We got our, early enlistees, the commanders and chiefs. Hell, we got walk-ons giving pregame speeches to boost the morale of the receiver room. A walk-on. He ain't getting no pot of gold and no junior recruiting breakfast and dinner lunch at front of the stadium. He didn't have Marcus Freeman fly to his kitchen. He didn't have Al Washington argue with Brian Driscoll about articles written because he ain't recruiting you hard enough. This kid was just going to school, enjoying his senior year, had a pretty decent football season. Wrote a bunch of essays and community service letters. Got lucky that he got chosen into Notre Dame and was like, you know what? Intramural's full up of my dorm. Let me try the real football team. He wanted to do intramural, but they was taken. So he said, let me just try out on the football team. And lo and behold, he's the number one receiver in the room. How?
I mean, he was on the cross scholarship, so
the man wasn't going to Friday Night Irish Lights, Irish Invasions. He was on the field next door.
Hey man, Lefty podcast.
Hold on, that Chauncey out there working out Cam Williams and all these top receivers we got. When the leading receiver on the team was on the other field with his lacrosse shoes on, with the sticks out.
Hey, national championship lacrosse team. Don't forget that.
That's a champ. He had the real camp next door. Marcus Freeman denying kids to accept scholarships at the front of the Google whole time. Dude with knee pads, a couple of cross sticks in his bag. Got the mesh jersey on. Carefree. Just happened to lend his service over to the football team and come up in the clutch against a team that we should have blew off the map. How did he even find himself in the game? Are we that low on depth where he got to be they calling his name out from he got his helmet already on. Usually you call a walk-on, he got to go ask another player for the helmet. He got to get a mouthpiece. He got to put his jersey on the right way. This walk-on was standing next to Marcus Freeman. He's like, all right, your time to shine. Like, how is he in the rotation that fast? How are we trusting a walk-on with that much responsibility with a room full of recruitment? I know Chancey Stuckey probably felt reluctant to put him in just because he can't even put his mark on it. You can't put your mark on a lacrosse player. What you gonna say in an interview? He wasn't even at practice. He'll make the meetings and he'd be like, Coach, I gotta go to a lacrosse game. I'll see y'all boys later. We doing drills. We going over film. And we got a guy that wanted to play intramural football, making more plays for the receivers and the receivers we recruit. That's embarrassing. That ain't no success story. That's probably the most embarrassing story of the year for the football team. You're looking at Marcus Freeman looking at this situation. Where do you go? We need a big-time receiver transfer. He already got the in-house offensive coordinator. We working through that. But these recruiting efforts got to start paying off. Because the kid from Chicago, Brandon Joseph, we still reeling over that. Jack Cohn been our best transfer so far. By far. So far, by far. If we had a draft and it was Sam and Jack Cohn 1 and 2 in the draft, I'm taking Jack Cohn. Hell, would Jack Cohn had a full season? Who knows what Jack Cohn could have did?
Don't say that. The natives will get restless with you.
Hold on now. With a full, if Jack Cohn didn't split no time, look, we cut a quarterback for the other one.
Well, Sam Hartman is top 15 in efficiency. Left.
Wait a minute.
Top 15 in offensive efficiency. He's one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the nation.
Man, what Jack Cohn did is truly special. He like one of them Drake albums that you listen to and you just hate on. Oh, it's trash. It's not but 2 or 3 years later, you put that album back in. You'd be like, you know what? That performance was pretty good, Mr. Cohn. He put together something real rememberable. With the circumstances he was dealt with, he's almost putting up a better performance. Something to think about.
Hey man, Deion Colzie close to getting back on the field, and Tobias demoted, but they expect to get him involved in the game. Coach, what's up with that?
We'll probably start some individual this week. He's probably a little bit behind of where we thought he would be with the scope on his knee, but I still see him coming back here in the next couple of weeks and being available. As far as Tobias, we talked about this today in our meeting. We got to try and find ways to get him the ball and take some shots downfield with Tobias, with his body, his length, his speed. We got to try to continuously find ways to truly take shots and not look for just the wide open perfect play. And that's what at times we can end up doing. We got to take shots and believe that he'll make a play on a 50-50 ball, and we have full faith that he will.
So we got to take. So after the bye and self-scouting, they realize they got to take shots with Tobias and give him a chance.
This kid is getting abused. This is abuse. I'm walking into Marcus Freeman's office filing a complaint for abuse. I've been here 3 years. Y'all done told me y'all couldn't trust me.
No, he's been here 2 years. He's a sophomore.
It felt like 3. Can't trust me.
Or are you talking about Colzie? I'm sorry.
Oh, Colzie,
You know what Colzie is on? Colzie is, you know what? There's nothing wrong with Deion Colzie. He just has the normal Notre Dame wide receiver bust out senior season career.
Oh,
like
Javon
you hear Javon McKinley special. Like you hear nothing from these dudes. Kevin Austin special. Injuries. Can't get on the field. And all of a sudden, senior year, Miles Boykin.
Yeah, Miles Boykin, EQ, Chase Claypool.
Yes, all of a sudden they just explode senior year, and Notre Dame fans are like, "Where the hell is this man?"
Yeah, he's going through the typical gauntlet of whoever. I don't even know how you describe it, but exactly, Shaun. We won't hear from him until his last possible year of playing. It's either that or he goes transfers like Williams did to Miami of Ohio, the other receiver. But his was more injury. But he's taking a Javon McKinley route. I mean, you would have thought he was bottom of the barrel. But lo and behold, next year he might be the team's leading receiver, 1,000 yards, record breaker, Ben Skoranek. Never would have thought we needed him type of impact. So he's taken care of. JT, I'm a little more concerned of. just because he was in the spot, lost the spot, got hurt, not really shining as bright as they want him to in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because we don't really have a receiver friendly type of offense to where you can just get volume and get better as the year goes on. The tight ends have figured out how to be able to play in this system where you can miss 4 weeks due to concussion, come back and be the team leading receiver. Mitchell Evans has been the blessing we never knew we needed. But damn, you would think that the healthy guys that have been there the whole time would be at least a little more productive at the receiver position. So maybe it's just going to take us to get an outlier at the position to shake the room up, to challenge the room. I don't think if you look at a situation like this that the room is even challenging themselves individually. I don't think there's anybody to where, because if I was in the room, Ian Book would have never played if it came down to me, Deshaun, and Brandon still being in the room. Even if Coach went in there and was like, "Hey, I want Ian to play," we wouldn't allow it. so for them to let Rico Flores just jump everybody in that room and sit right next to Coach for film, because we talked about this earlier, some seats are going to be moved around, but Rico's seat went from in the back next to the Gatorade container to holding the clicker with Coach. They done moved JT's seat so far to the right, he damn near thinking he changing position. He's so damn close to the hallway. Because the projector is closer to the other side of the room, and if you get closer to the door, that means you're on your way out or to another position. So for Rico to just go through the whole room and be the number one guy, I mean, I see why Cardinal was like, man, I don't know. Do I want to be the number one first day without even practicing? At least I can work my way into Ohio State's rotation because they got guys I can look up to. But what's Rico's example in that
That's
room?
why it was funny when, because Notre Dame fans, send me stuff inbox trying to be funny, and I just shake my head. They were like, "Yeah, where's Cardinal on the bench while Jaden Greathouse and Rico Flores are producing?" And I just shook my head, and I'm like, I'll bet on Cardinal's career at Ohio State before I bet on a first round pick being produced out of this wide receiver room in Notre Dame. Dude, like, what are we talking about? Like, every young wide receiver at Ohio State has to wait. Everybody. And like you just said, the fact that the freshmen had to come in early on, we were like, oh, okay, this is a good sign. But now, like you said, it's like, yo, I don't know if it's really a positive sign. You have to look at a big picture. You already said they need to go get wide receivers in the portal next season. Cam Williams, I talked to him. Cam Williams is like, because he knows his team is not going to win a state championship. He knows that the playoffs start this weekend. He's packing his bags already. He can't wait to January to get on campus. You know what I'm saying? He wishes he could do like Alabama allows their early enrollees to do, which is practice for the bowl game.
Yeah.
But we'll see, man. It's a position that coming into the spring, you felt really positive about it, and then all of a sudden, some things happen, and you know,
One of those
you know,
things.
yeah, man. You there was an issue. It seems like Chris Tyree was just given the slot, and maybe some veteran receivers didn't particularly care for that,
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely
and
given
then you have
the spot
injuries and
because nobody took it.
transfers.
Nobody took the spot. Nobody was thinking they was gonna be the starter in that spot because they were all
Mhm.
thinking about how the coaches were going to decide because there was no clear number one.
Mm.
So
Roosevelt Carney. I think Freeman is holding Parker back from running his offense. First of all, I think Tommy left at the beginning of February, if I'm not mistaken. First week of February. Practice started like it was a month out. The team had been locked into the playbook. Jared Parker got hired 2 weeks later. After the debacle with the other OC candidates. So you want the Notre Dame players to like just discard what they've been studying all off season and pick up a brand new playbook 2-3 weeks before, a month before the spring. It's a difficult situation. Jared Parker came before the media and said they're helping me with the playbook, which he was here as the tight end coach, but he talked about it. The players have been studying this all off season, so that's what we're going to run. So I don't think it's a process of anybody holding Parker back. They knew they were going to continue running what they've been running since Tommy Rees left. Now, if another OC had come in, I'm pretty sure he would have tried to bring in another coach with him and probably would have come in like, yo, here's the playbook. So I don't know. What I do know is most coaches leave like in January, and Tommy leaving first week in February kind of, to some people, put the squad in a bind. I don't know how you view that, Left. I don't know how much time it takes to get acclimated to a brand new playbook. And
well, I never knew Parker's offense coming into it, so
it was a mixture, right? From the places he's been. Hey, if you don't have a feel for play calling, really doesn't matter what the playbook is.
that's right.
Even I know that.
It's definitely a feel to it. So you either got it or you don't.
Even I know that. As we get ready to get out of here, Left, it's gonna be some wins taken off of the old trophy. Some Big Ten titles probably stripped. Collins Station. He is the fall guy. Somehow, some way, he purchased all of the tickets to all of these Big Ten games. 2 tickets, one across from each sideline. They have video. This is really turning into a Spygate. They have his computer. They have his emails, his correspondence. And even though they might want him to be the fall guy, I just don't think Jim Harbaugh in Michigan escaped this year did.
Mm.
I
Well,
really don't. I just really don't. But this is the
well,
kicker. That doesn't change my mind about the way Michigan has physically beat up Ohio State the last 2 years, though.
right.
I don't care what you film. They went out there and just physically beat you up. That's not film. Now, some other nuances, especially with the passing attack of Ohio State, that could play a factor. But the trenches, hey, young man has sacrificed himself for the University of Michigan, and yeah, he probably won't get a Power 5 job for a bit.
Pretty crazy circumstance that they're going this hard after Michigan. I think all teams do it in some aspects. So it's one of those things that they must have pissed somebody off on the wrong level. Because I'm convinced everybody does it. So
Hmm.
it's one of those things that all of a sudden it's illegal, and they want to expose it and make an example out of somebody. But this is a $1 billion industry. And if you don't think these coaches are trying everything to win, then you just not understanding the high stakes football.
Hmm. And it was funny last week watching all the Michigan fans. Where's the proof? Where's the proof? And then Pete Thamel drops that article today. I'm like, oh, word? Hmm. Yeah, this is not good. This is not good, boy. That cat, Jimbo can start heading up I-94 right now, left. Come on, man. Come on to Chicago, bro. Come on. Just come on. We don't really care. We don't really care, man.
You don't care.
No, we really don't we don't care. We don't care. Jimbo can leave, JJ McCarthy can enter the draft. Like it can all just tumble. It can all just fall apart.
It'll all just fall.
It can all just fall apart. Come on. Come on. It is what it is. So we're gonna dig into Pitt a little bit more tomorrow, man. And I'm telling you, man, that Devonshire dude, I'm telling you, this kid, I love this kid, man. Man, this kid he's one of those irritants at defensive back left.
That's what we
Like,
like.
oh yeah, he's definitely gonna get to a shoving match or trash talking match with Rico somebody this weekend. Like, you can guarantee it. But I will say this. He's one of your favorite guys from when you were being recruited, man. I fully expect this Pitt team to come in and play hard. They're a Pat Narduzzi team.
Mm.
I expect Pat Narduzzi to come in and have his team ready to go. I really do. I just don't think they have the horses.
Okay.
You got the third string quarterback from Wake Forest, beating you. It's gonna be tough. Last week was Belu, the new quarterback for Pitt, his first road stop and first road start. Notre Dame is a different beast than on the road at Wake Forest.
Yeah.
And see both Flemister, he's been running hard, but
Got
yes,
something for that.
Sebo, we're gonna have to do some things to you this weekend.
That's right.
And then Shane Simon, hey, gonna have to do some offensive line is gonna have to, But like Marcus Freeman said in his press conference, he loves the story of Notre Dame players getting their degree and being able to go find playing time elsewhere. And Shane Simon and Sebo Flemister are both examples of once you commit to Notre Dame, you make that commitment pay off. Get that degree, and then go find your playing time somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with that.
Left, anything else?
Nah, man, I think we covered it for today. I think we got to it.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. We appreciate you guys. You know what time it is.
Petticoat, petticoat, petticoat junction.
It's time to get petty.
Oh, we did a good job executing.
Are you upset with something?
And fire up the Petticoat Junction train.
I just don't like you.
You don't?
No.
What is today's pettiest story? Petty Junction.
Petty Junction, pettiest story of the day, brought to you by Nora Whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com, that premium American whiskey at NoraWhiskey.com. I see you guys in the chat still talking about that offense thing. Dude, your opinion is your opinion, but to say football is football when it comes to playbooks I'm sorry, it's just not true. You just can't say, hey, just take any playbook. Playbooks have to match personnel. You can't. Andy Ludwig isn't using his full playbook this year. You know why? All of his run backs are injured. He's playing a safety at running back, and he's using his third string quarterback now. So he's not calling the same plays that he would call if Cam Rising was the quarterback.
That's right.
Which is he would be using the full extent of his playbook instead of watering things down for guys that never started a game. So you just can't say the playbook is the playbook. It's bigger than that. And like I said, you got a full off season with kids locked in on one playbook, and then you just spring a brand new playbook here. If it was that easy, Sam Hartman wouldn't be struggling with certain parts of the pro-style offense.
That's right.
If it was that easy, a 6-year vet at quarterback would not be struggling with certain aspects of this playbook. If it was just easy to go from one playbook to another. When your 6-year vet struggles with certain aspects, safe to say it would have been a struggle for some players in the eyes of the coaches. I'll leave it at that. I'm going to need Jada Pinkett Smith to stop talking.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to need
goodness.
I need Britney Spears to stop talking. All these memoirs, dude. Like, shut up. This man is married to Jessica Biel, happily married with a family. And you sitting up here putting out, I was pregnant by Justin Timberlake. He forced me to have an abortion. First of all, as much as the fight has been for this is my body, I highly disagree that he didn't physically force you. He told you he didn't want a baby. He was at the prime of his career, and you made the decision. Now, if you regret it right now, that's fine. But between you and Jada Pinkett Smith, man, y'all doing too much right now. You're putting Colin Farrell's business from back in the day out there. It's too much, Left. Who's buying this stuff, bro?
You ain't saying that, we reporting on stuff like that, but it happens, man. It's pop culture. But yeah, some of y'all 10 years too late to be talking about this.
Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yo, I watched that clip of James Franklin. It's even worse. Like every time I watch it, I'm like, man, this dude,
Delusional coaches are an epidemic out here.
man,
Because what are y'all talking about?
that cat Kirby was talking a little trash today.
He rightfully so. He should.
That cat Kirby was like, yeah, we gonna miss 19, but we gonna be ready. I said, oh snap, Kirby.
Yeah.
All right.
Kirby letting you know.
Yo, you experienced that joint at Jacksonville. Is it one of the craziest things, the biggest cocktail party?
It's open, and I just think the setup allows a lot of crazy stuff to take place. But we wasn't that good during that time, so it was very one-sided. So I don't know what it was like outside the stadium, but Jacksonville Stadium is pretty small, so it was a good environment in the stadium. But outside the stadium, you can see how it can get pretty crazy. It's just so open, you know.
Mm.
It's one of those concert open parking lot type of setups, so you just know it's a lot of it's hard to keep everybody under the law.
So I think this week we're gonna have a special guest. We just have to confirm. Former Notre Dame wide receiver Bobby Brown,
There you go.
the originator of the Afros, America's finest receivers, on Saturday.
I'm trying to get Isaac on board as well this week. Stay tuned
Absolutely.
for TikTok Hall of Famer, I guess. Isaac Rochelle. I mean, he's big time.
Man, that's what we do. We continue to spin it different. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audio Edibles, YouTube. We appreciate you. Subscribe. That thumbs up, smash it for us, and hit that notification bell. So every time we go live, you'll know. But left, SD2 mics, man. Have a great evening. Enjoy the 49ers smacking the Vikings and keeping them in last place in that NFC North. You know, Notre Dame fans, I understand you're frustrated. I understand, right? You would love to feel like Kansas City Chiefs fans. I understand. And
Yeah.
let me be prophetic. The day is coming. The day is coming. The day is coming. I promise you. The day of quarterbacks that can actually affect the game with their arms and their legs. Actually make and put points on the board against really good teams and wide receivers that can make big plays in those games. It's coming. Just hold on a little while longer. Because you know you want to be like Kansas City Chiefs fans that hear from the media that the Chiefs are struggling offensively. And like I told you, Left, the narrative is out there, but if you look at the offensive stats, the Chiefs are top 5 in just about every offensive category with a struggling offense. It must be nice, Left.
Must be nice.
Must be nice. So in the future, look forward to being just like Chiefs fans, Notre Dame fans. Your day is coming. Your day is coming. Congratulations to Notre Dame heritage and legacy, James Flanagan, tight end from Notre Dame Academy in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I'll forgive you from being from Green Bay, Wisconsin. But congratulations on your commitment to Notre Dame. No need for us to break down the film. He plays tight end, so we know he's going to play, and he's going to play well at
No,
Notre
it's gonna
Dame.
play, yeah.
And dude, every tight end that walks into that room ends up playing and playing pretty good and getting to the league, right? So it is what it is. Oh, Taylor Swift and Patrick Mahomes' wife, y'all on a petty train too, because that was some of the corniest stuff I saw yesterday. The celebrations, do better. That was mad corny. We out of here. Spin it different.